The latest developments on The Young and the Restless have set the stage for one of Kyle Abbott's most defining moments yet. With his heart torn between the ghosts of past loves, his duty to his family, and his undeniable chemistry with Claire Grace, Kyle is once again standing at a crossroads, and this time, the move he makes next could alter the entire trajectory of his future. A man at a breaking point. Kyle Abbott has always been a man of passion and impulse. He's inherited Jack's business drive and Diane's emotional volatility, a combination that makes him both magnetic and unpredictable. After the latest fallout with Summer Newman, and the growing tension between him and his parents over his personal decisions, Kyle has been desperate for clarity. Unfortunately, clarity isn't something that comes easily in Genoa City. Claire Grace entered Kyle's orbit like a quiet storm, vulnerable, complex, and trying to find her footing after a lifetime of manipulation under Aunt Jordan's cruel control. Kyle saw a reflection of himself in her struggle to reclaim her identity after being used and misunderstood. What began as cautious friendship quickly evolved into something much more intimate, sparking gossip and concern throughout the Abbott family. But now, after weeks of uncertainty, Claire has finally drawn a line. She told Kyle she can't be with someone who's still tethered to his ex, or to a family that sees her as a project instead of a person. That confrontation has forced Kyle into a corner, one that will demand he finally decides who he is, and who he wants to be. The tipping point. Jack's ultimatum. The drama escalates when Jack steps in, fearing that Kyle's growing attachment to Claire is clouding his judgment. In a tense father-son scene, Jack delivers an ultimatum that cuts deep: focus on rebuilding your place at Jabbot, or risk losing everything. Jack's concern isn't malicious, he's watched Kyle derail himself before, and he's terrified it's happening again. But his words ignite Kyle's resentment. How many times do I have to prove myself to this family? Kyle fires back. Every time I try to make a choice for me, you tell me it's wrong. Maybe that's why I keep messing up, because I'm living your version of my life. Jack is visibly shaken. He reminds his son that every choice has consequences, a lesson Kyle has learned the hard way, from failed marriages to broken trust. But this time, Kyle isn't ready to back down. His relationship with Claire has awakened something in him, the need to stand on his own, to define himself outside of Abbott expectations. Claire's stand for independence. Meanwhile, Claire's journey runs parallel to Kyle's. She's determined not to let her dark past define her, and she's finally starting to believe she deserves love. Sharon and Nick have been supportive, but their concern for her well-being sometimes borders on suffocating. Claire wants to be seen as capable, not fragile. When Kyle shows up at Crimson Lights, hoping to apologize for his recent mixed signals, Claire listens, but she doesn't fold. She tells him, quietly but firmly, I don't want to be someone's rebellion. I want to be someone's choice. That line hits Kyle harder than she realizes. It echoes in his mind later that night as he walks through the Abbott mansion, haunted by memories of all the times he's let love slip away because he was too afraid to make a bold choice. With Summer, it was hesitation. With Lola, it was pride. And now, with Claire, it might be fear. Diane's interference. Of course, no Abbott family storyline is complete without Diane's influence. She's never fully trusted Claire, seeing her as a fragile reminder of the chaos Jordan brought to Genoa City. Diane warns Kyle that Claire could pull him down with her, if he's not careful. But her words, meant to protect him, only push him further toward defiance. You don't get to choose who I love, Kyle tells her in a moment of raw frustration. You did enough of that when I was a kid. It's a powerful scene that lays bare years of unresolved resentment. Diane's face softens as she realizes she might lose her son if she keeps pushing. But by then, it might already be too late, because Kyle has made up his mind to do something drastic. Kyle's shocking next move. In an unexpected twist, Kyle decides to leave Genoa City, not permanently, but long enough to prove to himself and everyone else that he can make it on his own. He plans to take a position with a startup fashion brand in Paris, a move that shocks both the Abbotts and Claire. He breaks the news at Society, where Claire happens to be meeting with Mariah and Tessa. The tension is palpable as Kyle explains that he needs to step away to find out who I am when I'm not someone's son, or someone's ex-husband. Claire tries to mask her reaction, but her voice trembles when she asks if he's leaving because of her. I'm leaving because of me, he replies softly. But if I come back, I hope you'll still be here. The vulnerability in his words stirs something deep in Claire, fear, longing, and hope, all tangled together. Later, as she confides in Sharon, Claire admits she doesn't know if she can trust that Kyle will return the same man. Sharon gently advises her not to wait, to live her life and let love find its way back naturally if it's meant to. The Abbott fallout. Jack is livid when he finds out, accusing Kyle of running away from his problems instead of facing them. Diane is distraught, fearing history is repeating itself, her son drifting away because of choices she doesn't understand. But Tracy, always the voice of reason, reminds them that growth sometimes requires distance. Kyle's not running, Tracy says during a family gathering. He's searching, and if we love him, we have to let him go find what he's looking for. Those words finally bring a semblance of peace to the household, though Diane still can't shake her unease. She senses that something about Kyle's decision, or perhaps the timing of it, is more complicated than he's letting on. A hidden agenda. Indeed, Kyle's departure may not be entirely about self-discovery. There's speculation that he's also been quietly approached by someone connected to Audra Charles, a former flame who might have ulterior motives. Rumors swirl that the Paris venture could be a front for a corporate power play involving Newman Media. If that's true, Kyle might be walking into another emotional and professional trap, one that could either make him stronger or destroy him completely. Claire's dilemma. In the weeks following Kyle's announcement, Claire finds herself torn between moving on and holding on to hope. She pours her energy into her recovery work and starts volunteering at the crisis center Sharon once ran. Through helping others, she begins to rediscover her confidence. Yet, every night, she checks her phone, wondering if Kyle will call. When a letter finally arrives from Paris, Claire hesitates to open it. She places it on her dresser, afraid that whatever's inside could either reignite her heart or shatter it all over again. Sharon, seeing her struggle, gently reminds her that closure, one way or another, is part of healing. A glimpse of what's next. Back in Paris, Kyle is shown standing on a balcony overlooking the Seine, lost in thought. He's dressed sharply, the skyline reflecting in his eyes. He pulls out his phone, scrolls to Claire's name, and hovers his thumb over the call button. The screen fades to black before we see what he decides. It's a perfectly poised cliffhanger, one that leaves fans wondering whether Kyle will truly find himself or fall back into old patterns. Will his time away give him the strength to return to Genoa City as a new man, or will distance drive him and Claire apart for good? The emotional undercurrent. What makes this storyline so compelling isn't just the romance, it's the symmetry of two people trying to heal from the past while daring to imagine a future. Claire's redemption arc mirrors Kyle's quest for independence, both haunted by mistakes they didn't fully choose. Their connection feels less like a standard soap romance and more like a journey toward mutual self-acceptance. For longtime viewers, this arc also highlights the young and the restless's ability to reinvent familiar characters through emotional truth. Kyle's struggles with family loyalty, identity, and impulsive love have always defined him. But now, those flaws might be the very things that lead him toward real growth. What lies ahead? Speculation for the coming weeks hints that Kyle's move to Paris could uncover unexpected alliances, and perhaps a betrayal that hits close to home. Jack may find himself forced to step in when Abbott faces an international shake-up tied to Kyle's absence. Meanwhile, Claire could cross paths with someone from her past who threatens her newfound stability. But amid all the uncertainty, one thing remains clear: Kyle's shocking decision to leave Genoa City isn't just about escape. It's about transformation. Whether he returns as a changed man or a broken one will depend on how honestly he confronts the truth about himself, and how much he's willing to risk for love. As The Young and the Restless continues its intricate weave of legacy, love, and reinvention, one question will linger in viewers' minds. When Kyle Abbott finally comes home, will Claire be waiting, or will the woman he left behind have moved on without him? Whatever happens next, it's clear that Kyle's journey, and the choices he makes from here, will define not only his future but also the future of one of Genoa City's most complicated love stories.